Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It is with deep humility and unwavering purpose that I welcome you to the finale of the Sixth Global Dialogue for Justice. 6 years ago, we began this journey with a simple yet urgent mission to speak truth in the face of silence, to create space where the voices of the persecuted and the forgotten are not only heard but amplified. This forum was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to be courageous. And it's because of your presence, and those of you who are here, and each of you around the world, that we continue to push forward, even when the weight of injustice feels unbearable. Let me remind you that for the last 10 days, we have confronted what many try to ignore: the persecution of innocent people in Turkey, the silencing of scholars, mothers, teachers, and children, the crimes against humanity unfolding in places like Gaza, the price of truth in a world that rewards silence, and the suffering of both humans and animals, too often forgotten, too often dismissed. But in this space, we refuse to stay silent. Today, I welcome you for my new home, Finland, a land of calm nature, great, breathtaking beauty, and quiet strength. This peaceful scenery reminds us that while the world may be chaotic, it's still worth fighting for. As a scholar, I have traveled far from my home state of Florida to many countries across Europe and spent 4 years in the Republic of Georgia. It was there in February of 2021 that I co founded Tray for Stray, an NGO devoted to feeding, rescuing, and rehoming animals left struggling on the streets. Since that day, not a single day has passed without action. Even tonight, as I speak to you, I am actively facilitating feeding and rescue mission in Tbilisi through our extraordinary volunteers, because compassion cannot wait, because justice must extend to all living beings. Now, in what many call the happiest country on earth, I have found a place where I feel accepted, where I can speak truth freely and continue my life's passion, helping people share their voices and standing up for the voiceless, both human and animal. This year, I am truly honored to be joined by a remarkable group of individuals who joined me this past 10 days. Each of them brings not only deep expertise, but also lived experience, moral clarity, and fearless commitment to justice. Dr. Bayram Arzulamulu is scholar of political violence and human rights. Dr. Fatma Sahara Fidan, expert on women's rights and maternal justice. Ms. Fatma Bustan Unsal, academic and longtime human rights advocate. Mr. Sarah journalist and public intellectual. Ms. Maya Nadine Said, dental student and youth advocate from Pakistan. Anna Shingelia, writer and human and animal rights advocate. Each of them reminds us that justice is not a whisper, it's a chorus, and every voice matters. So, tonight is an emotional night and an extremely important night, especially to those whose hearts have been broken through the loss of loved ones as the result of the events on July 15, 2016. But before we discuss and we continue, I would like to welcome with great pleasure and honor to begin this year's finale and welcome our beloved professor, Dr. Bayram Arzaramullah. Dr. Bayram, hello, and thank you very much for always supporting our very important and courageous project.
Well, thank you very much, Merjina, inviting me, for inviting me as usual. whenever I meet you, when I tell the stories of victims in Turkey, uh, I am always anxious that uh, whether people thinks that I'm lying or I'm telling them telling them fictitious stories, because the stories we tell the public, tell the audience, are so unbelievable, so stupid, so tragic comic. Actually, they are tragic events, traumatic events. But but for a rational mind, they sound as if they are uh, unreasonable, irrational, fictitious stories. But believe you me, uh, dear audience, whatever we say is truth of the truth. Believe you, please, please, uh, please release me from my agonies. They are really true events, and they are recorded not by only by, by only one report, only by one person. They are being recorded by uh, more or less all the human rights organizations uh, working in Turkey, like Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, uh, or uh, national national human rights institutions. Uh, so we are telling you stories of real people, basically. They are sorry stories, unbelievable stories, but please, please trust us that we are not making up anything, because we are not here just to draw attention of actually a uh, conscious people with sensitive heart. So please uh, put your confidence in Merjina, in anyone he brings in this program, and then give all your best, all your support to the cause of human rights, obviously, in the world, in your country, in the world, plus animals and environment as Mergina uh, promotes. She's a genuine lady who does not only care for humans, she cares for obviously animals. She cares for plants. She cares for earth. She cares for water sources. Basically, she is how should I say? She's a lady with a big heart that is uh, that is sensitive to all injustices, whether they are living beings or unliving beings. Basically, I'll be talking just this much now. Najna, stage is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Varam. You know that I can only do these things with guidance and inspiration from people like you. And so I'm fortunate. I grew up in a place where we can speak freely, and uh, but we learn lesson every day that if we become complacent and if we don't keep ourselves, our awareness, our compassion, it's something change. And it's people forget that we have to stay on top of what's happening in the world, and that's our role here. What we're doing here at the Global Dialogue for Justice is we are informing, we're engaging, and we're requiring action. So it's a community of people that must come together. So what I'm doing is I'm just one person, but doing it. But then if we come together from different places in the world, This is a space for that. That's why we created a global dialogue. So before we continue, of course, it is my honor to introduce and to welcome back someone who is also very courageous. Her leadership is so admirable with the fight for justice. And I'm so honored to have her here, Miss Fatma Bustan Unsa. How are
Thank
you? And thank you
fine,
very much.
fine. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Really, to listen you, to watch you. I'm honored to be here. Really.
Thank you very much. So let's continue. First, we would like to let you know that Dr. Fatma Sarah Fadan is not here, but she wanted to come here, but she sent us a video, and we would like to play that for our audience.
Hello everyone. It passed completely 9 years over 15 July coup attempt in 2016. Actually, I wouldn't want to talk about deep destruction in this process, but there is no solution. There is no any solution for this season. Have to do again. Since 2016, hundreds of thousands of people were dismissed from their job. These people were stigmatized and social exclusion too. In the other words, they were subjected to be extinction. In this situation led to thousands of deaths and suicide. This situation have continued at the moment. At the moment, every day we learned one of my friends death or suicides. We, with the degree loves citizens, want to change this terrible, deep, terrible situation. For this season, I wanna call out to Turkish and global politics. If you don't choose love and justice, you will be distinction in the end. You must be understand. You must be understand at the moment. End of my speech. I wanna thanks Global Dialogue for Justice, all of its their efforts. Thank you very much. Here.
Wow, we thank very much Dr. Fatma Sarafadan for your powerful message. And so let's go ahead and start this very complicated conversation, Dr. Varam, about the July 15, 2016 that you have always referred to as special operations.
Yeah.
And this is really hard, but let's try to break it down to our audience. What is July 15, 2016?
Well, Merjina, if I thought that it was a special operation by the head of the state against uh, the army, against the public, against the Turkish bureaucracy, well, evidence is getting more clear, more louder, more evident day by day. How do we know it? Because events do not add up to the basically to the stories of the government. Interestingly, the government uh, stopped investigation of the events. How come a government propagandized that uh, there was a coup d'etat that uh, targeted their own government, uh, that would stop actually uh, investigation in the investigation of anybody who tries to know the truth about the events of of the 15th of July 2016, uh, either imprisoned or somehow silenced, somehow threatened, uh, because let's say government claims that 251 people died, but some investigators done uh, some actually their own investigation through probably public information that is in public. Uh, well, at least uh, half of them, according to those people who investigated who died and who, by what cause they've died, those people, those deaths are not related to the events of 15th of July. Anyway, this is their claim. Suppose that some person trips over the stairs and get injured. Government claims that guy was injured by the putschists. Some actually, let me tell you a story that went into public knowledge. Basically, uh, uh, a guy who was in a trip in Antalya province. Antalya, if I am not wrong, is at least 1,000 kilometers away from Ankara. But that guy claimed that he was in a sub-district of Ankara. I will not give the name. And then uh, bullets were raining on him, and so he, despite all those rains of bullets, he got up and fought against those pushchists, and then many of his friends died or injured by the side of him. Then a few days later, that guy was the mayor of the district he was supposed to be fighting against the pushchists. By the way, he wasn't anybody. He was somebody. He was somebody. But a few days later, some video, actually clips, some video footages or some witnesses came forward that that guy was in Antalya. How come he would have fought in Ankara against those people? In this sense, it is obvious that the government is making up stories, getting some people tell false actually information to the public, so that government story is somehow backed up. Uh, but but getting stories from soldiers, getting some stories from wives of soldiers, children of soldiers, parents of those soldiers. Uh, well, we know that some of those putschs, supposed putschs, were in hospital. Some of them had died. Some of them were on holiday abroad, basically. So, but government tells that those people uh, somehow came together and conspired against this government, and then they killed this much people. Let's accept that they killed this much people. Okay, let's accept that. But uh, the academics, who did they kill? The teachers, who did they kill? The doctors, who did they kill? Nurses, who did they kill? Engineers, who did they kill? Parents of those soldiers, who did they kill? Wives of those soldiers, who did they kill? Um, uh, Actually, as far as I know, uh, 1,000 people who were tried for somehow getting involved into this event. Um, I know it is being actually increased to 8,000, but those 7,000 were ordinary soldiers, like private, privates who had no command abilities at all. Some of them were, as you broadcasted, anyway, were students, school students, who were told that they would be transported to their uh, actually own barracks, their own accommodations. But those who were being transferred to their accommodations uh, got life imprisonment. Many of them. I went and witnessed trials of a group of students. Students were saying that, for example, that, sir, we didn't have any uh, uh, actually uh, anything to do with this supposed to be coup d'etat. We were told that we would transport from one place to another place. We found ourselves in uh, angry crowds. Uh, uh, crowds. Uh, People attacked us, not us attacked them, uh, but still, but still, they got life imprisonment. I know where they are being kept, basically. Uh, there was supposed to be a parliamentary investigation. Hmm. Interestingly, uh, the head of the chief of staff didn't come to that investigation, investigating committee. Head of intelligence didn't come to that investigation committee. Those all important people didn't come to that investigation committee. Well, interestingly, those people, chief of staff, who was supposed to be hijacked by the putschists, uh, and many putschists were appointed and promoted in his time. Those kind of person should be demoted, well, and then maybe put in charge for put in prison for neglecting his duties, actually. But that person uh, was promoted to be a minister of defense. And the head of state claimed that he heard the coup d'etat news from his uh, uh, brother-in-law, brother-in-law, yes, from his brother-in-law. Yeah. But if, as head of state, heard the story of coup d'etat from his brother-in-law, I am sure he would dismiss his intelligence, head of intelligence. But his head of intelligence became vice president. Interestingly, whomever neglected their duties, whomever abused their power, got promoted. Whomever they did uh, the duties they should have done, got put in prison. And then, by the way, despite not head of intelligence being attended, not chief of staff not being attended to commission seen many people, but somehow that report was lost. It is not published. So, to be honest, uh, uh, special operation is still going on because uh, out of that special operation, the government has got godly powers. They can put anybody in prison. They can free anybody. They can actually confiscate anybody's property, claiming that they were supporting putschists, they were the putschists, this and that. They were supporting them. And still to this day, they keep uh, their stories uh, uh, as if it 9 years ago. They use the same rhetoric today like they did 8, 9 years ago. Why? Because they collected, they gathered so much power that they cannot give up this much power voluntarily or easily. Actually, if they change their rhetoric, if they change their story, they know that they themselves could be put in prison, they themselves could be tried for their inaction, to be honest, their conspiracy against the public, conspiracy against the state, conspiracy against the army. That is why, that is why they are in no position to change their stories. They are in no position to change their rhetoric, because if they change, they know that their lies uh, would no longer be valid in the eyes of public, in the eyes of international community. So they could be tried for conspiracy against the democracy, for conspiracy against the public. That is why, that is why they are as eager today as they were 8, 9 years ago. They are still committing crimes against humanity, uh, against the public, against any opposition who doesn't support their stories, their policies, basically. Uh, well, I hope something happens, unexpected happens, and then we get rid of this evil group of people, so that uh, tears in the eyes of innocent people uh, stops. Uh, this is all I'm going to say for now. If you ask me something, I answer. Thank you very much, Merjan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Varam. Miss Fatma Bustan Unsal, can you share your a statement about the July 15, 2016, and then we will move forward and discuss maybe hope of any sort of hope that we can find in this process.
Okay. On the July the 15th, there was a coup attempt. It's obvious, but the explanation of the coup attempt, who did it, it's uh, it's ambiguous. As Dr. Bayram has already mentioned, there was a commission in the parliament on this issue. Uh, the head of the commission was from the ruling party, and also the even vice head of this commission also from the ruling party. I mean, although the dominant members were from the ruling party, they made the report, but uh, as Dr. Bayram has already said, now we do not have this report. Even this report is not available for us. So we do not know many things about coup attempt. This is we need to emphasize this. Although after 9 years had passed, it's there is ambiguity. So we need to have clear thing. Who did this? Who must be punished? This is the first thing. And also there was a guy, Akın Öztürk. he was said to be the first head of the coup attempt. Akın, the general, the he was still in the prison, who was being tried for a life sentence, but Human Rights Committee of UN made a decision, and they said that he is innocent. Although UN's decisions, he's still in prison. I mean, this is the another absurd thing. This is the first man, but he's, according to UN's Human Rights Committee, he's innocent. So we need to emphasize this also. And also another interesting thing, absurd thing actually, 2 million people, around 2 million quote unquote terrorists were tried. So 2 million, if 2 million terrorists were there, it could be a coup attempt. It not attempt. It could be coup. So 2 million is actually really absurd. In Turkey there was a Kurdish insurgent groups, but they it said that 5,000 um, people were there. You see, 5,000 people were there. So 2 million people uh, as a terrorist is unimaginable. So it's another questionable thing we need to uh, emphasize. One more thing, the pilots who flew president safely to Istanbul, now they were also dismissed from their job. If they were quote unquote terrorists, they would harm him. So it's really absurd thing. We need to emphasize this. And really, I don't know who did this, but there were many controversial things. We need to have a clear answer to on 15th of July coup attempt. And also, as already Dr. Bayram has said, you know, hundreds of thousands of people were dismissed by the job, but they are irrelevant of the coup attempt. For example, uh, I am one of them. I am one of peace academicians. We signed a petition during the um, long days of curfew after the peace process in southern part of Turkey. There were curfew, and also there was a violence against the civilian people. So we prepared a petition and said that we will not be part of that crime. So it's irrelevant of the coup attempt, but many of us were dismissed because of this. But there is a good news. 2 days ago, there is a court, is the last court for us to be um, re uh, to be reworked at our office, our profession. They said that we need to have these our jobs. So it's a good sign. The Supreme Court, we can say, the Supreme Court for public servants said that the peace academicians uh, must have their jobs, must regain their jobs. But it took 9 years Yeah, so long time. Many of us, as Dr. Bayram, also as Dr. Zehra said, that many people got sick and many people have died. Many people even had committed suicide. 9 years are so long years. We need to emphasize this. Really, there is the judiciary took so long time. After 9 years, many people now can work, but 9 years are so long for a justice. So, and after the coup attempt, for millions of people, there is a really um, there's place for these people. Everything can be done to them. It's so open area for these people. For example, in uh, 2019, there was an election in Istanbul, and the mayor now in prison, who uh, who won the race. But the people said, okay, he won by 15,000, so there are 15,000 um, KHK people, so we can cancel this election. Even they spelled this, but thanks God, they did not. Uh, they did not go on their argument. So our right to elect, we could hold the right to elect, but the right to be elected is taken from us. For a parliament, we can be elected, thanks God. Some of us are now even in the parliament. But if you um, if you are elected as a local as council or as local mayor, you cannot be a mayor, or you cannot be a member of local council. It's so absurd thing. Many absurd things are happening because of these coup attempts, regulations. We need to, yeah, really, we are living in the absurdity things. Even in Turkey, there is a um, specific mechanism, specific body to rule the election. So this body says that, okay, they can be, they can run. So they started to their campaign, everything. When they won the election, they could not be a mayor. Really, it's against of this. If there is a problem, they could not be shown as a candidate, but they were seen as candidate. After they won, they took their their rights. I mean, somebody else could be a mayor and also could be local councils. So there are many things really to absurd things, but this is just a summary of things.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fatma Bustan Unsal, for this information. I hear a little bit of hope when you said that academics and others can now return or will be have the opportunity to regain their position. But also, at some point, there will probably accountability that needs to happen for all those people who have died waiting for justice, and those people who got ill and committed suicide and died of heartbreak. These are part of these injustice, and that the entire KHK victims and people like us are trying to inform the international community about. And Dr. Baram, in the process, the international community know and aware of these atrocities committed against innocent people, and even the truth. There are We have already covered the how it started, who started it, and these people who have showed up in our program and made a contribution. For example, Ahmet Kalkan from Blue Tulips, and Yuxel Akale and Colonel Hussein Tamartas. They have already worked extremely hard in putting together information so that it become clear to the Western world and international community and even the Turkish people what happened truly. But Dr. Baram, justice delayed like this is an immense injustice, really, to innocent people. So, what will be your message of hope, even because we see a little bit of hope here, Dr. Baram?
Yes, Merja. I, well, luckily, uh, reinstatement of peace academics onto their job is a good news for them. I hope I get my good news a few months after their decision for reinstatement. Uh, I wasn't one of those peace academics because I wasn't aware of that signature actually. So that is why I couldn't be one of them. Uh, I am upset for that. Anyway, basically, uh, things are getting a bit better uh, for some section of the KHK victims. The reason for that is uh, the government couldn't get anybody believe in their stories, basically, believe in their lies. Basically, think that an academic is signing a declaration for peace, and they are being accused of supporting terrorism, supporting coup d'etat, supporting putschs. That is a tragic comic, actually, idea. That's a tragicomic proposal. That is unbelievable. Nobody would believe the stories of government that those people who signed for, in a sense, peace treaty uh, could be terrorists, could be supporting terrorism. Uh, so they no longer could keep their lies after these years. Government actually wanted all of us to die of hunger, die of malnutrition, die of psychological stress, psychological trauma. But somehow we showed our resilience against their oppression, against their persecution. So they are becoming to realize that, well, how long they keep up with their persecution, we will still resist their criminal actions, their criminal intent. We will keep on living, resisting, and telling our stories. That is why probably they, in the end, decided to reinstate uh, peace academics onto their jobs. But there is no change for military students. There is no change for many KHK victims, uh, because others uh, couldn't tell their stories as successful as peace academics. Well, we are happy for peace academics, obviously. So there is one victim less in our portfolio, or 200, 300 victims less, basically. Uh, uh, so we are happy for them, but we will we have to keep on fighting for the rest of the victims, obviously. Those who uh, have no voice to tell. I'm, for example, I'm an academic, but I'm not peace academic. One of those peace academics. So I cannot tell my stories as effective as those peace academics. Uh, I'm not accusing those people. I'm not accusing myself.
You are
But
right, by the way. You are
yeah,
right,
yeah.
Dr. Bayram. You are very right.
Thank you very much. But those people, especially military students, or even army personnel, believe you me, more or less, uh, none of them. I will not be more or less. I said that could help you. None of them actually thought that they were involved in a coup d'état. They were told by their superiors that they uh, they would be helping the policemen against it's supposed to be terrorist attack. Okay, they were told that they will be giving support to policemen against terrorist attack, or they will be some sort of a military, you know, event uh, that would make their war readiness better, this and that. So basically, especially military personnel were tricked uh, to have some sort of role in this supposed to be coup d'etat, but they couldn't tell their stories because they had arms. We can defend ourselves easily because we academics do not bear arms anyway. I just say we just say that, look, I'm an academic. I don't bear arms anyway. I cannot involve in any coup d'etat, and nobody asked me whether they uh, whether they could launch a coup d'etat. They didn't ask our opinion. I'm sure they didn't ask Ms. Fatma Bostan Insal's opinion either. Basically, we are in a better position to tell our stories. But obviously, military personnel, or especially those private soldiers, they didn't have any actually role in the hierarchy of army. They were told that they were told to go there somewhere. They went. That's it. But this government, just to keep their stories some sort of believable, they are keeping those private soldiers in prison for life, so that they could claim that, look, they are public, they are supporters. This much, let's say, 10,000 soldiers launched the coup d'etat against your legitimate government, so that we are keeping them in prison, so that you could sleep at your homes easily and better. Basically, this story is false from the start to the end, but unfortunately, government feels that they have got to stick on this story so that they can keep their criminal power as strong as before, uh, so that we probably have little hope for those private soldiers or military personnel or military students, but we have some hope for peace academics, and I have some hope for myself after peace academics. Thank you very much, Merjina, for giving me
Dr.
the chance.
Varam and Dr. Varam and Miss Fatma Bunsalstan, I'm going to go back to this conversation, this topic about, how the peace academics, have there's some kind of, improvement, but since a progress. But since Dr. Baram, you're talking about the cadets and the military students who are, still in prison. First of all, the Global Dialogue for Justice for so many years now, every finale, we send our best wishes to the families of those who died. For example, Ragib Ines Katran and Murat Tekin. We are always, dedicating a huge part of what we do here at the Global Dialogue for Justice for your losses. It's a big loss and so much heartbreak and so much injustice, and also those mothers who are continuing to fight for their children, like Sevin Shakir. And I commend
Yeah.
you for your resilience and for your courage to be out there daily, daily, and now many of us from far away know what you're fighting for, what you're doing there, and it's so we have so much respect for you. And Dr. Baram and Ms. Patman, when we did the 2 years ago, we had the guest Ahmed Kalkan, and also Yuxal Akali had my contribution on this. And what I'm just gonna say is that if the narrative of the coup is going to be destroyed, and the justification for the state of emergency and the decree law will be destroyed if those cadets in prison and the officers that are in prison, the military students in prison will be released, then one of the justification will be destroyed. So that's why, Dr. Baram, when you said that these people, it's so unfortunate that they are, they are not being released. Well, it is a very, very big reason from what we learned from the Global Dialogue for Justice, and we are gonna revisit that when we continue our Scholars Work series, and maybe we will get you back here, also, Ms. Fatma, and we will continue this conversation, sharing with the international community of we have names, they name this, and these people are military people who knows who they know what's happening on the ground. They know exactly the things that are happening during the before and during and after the July 15, 2016. So that is a big goal for what we're gonna do. And just because we do 10 day of conversations, we don't quit. We do it continuously, 365 days a week. We are fighting for justice, and we're giving a voice to the victims of the KHK and the persecution. So I would like to go back to the discussion on about, because I'm looking for solution. And so for the peace academics, for you to get to this point, and to those who are not, can you explain what that entails?
Okay. Actually, I will. It was good to clarify me. The same situation against peace academicians or other academicians is or the other public servants. The same situation. They were dismissed without any verdict against them. It's illegal, and we actually it's not a good to divide them. It's the same injustice happens to everyone. So yeah, they are all going to have their jobs. I'm sure we are living deja vu because in 1980 there was a coup happened in 1980, and a similar thing now. We say KHK. There was a similar rule uh, during that time. After 10 years, whole public servants were dismissed by the government. Uh, then they took their job. The same thing. Now we are living deja vu. So I am sure justice will happen. Unfortunately, it would take so much time. I'm sure because the injustice is the same against all of the people because we are and, we are we need to look at the original problem is this. So I am very hopeful also for them, not only for peace academicians, and it's not good for me only to be interested in my issue. It's not this. Maybe they started with the peace academicians, maybe we can say, and also the in Turkey, privates or military students, they could only obey their um, their leaders. They do not have any say against them. So it's very ridiculous to try them even for life sentence. It's so injustice, and there are many UN Human Rights Committee against these trials. They were. It is said that, and it will be implemented. Turkey nowadays does not implement the international course decisions. It's really shame. Even maybe a week ago, there is another European Court of Human Rights decision on Selahattin Demirtas, who was also a leader of the third party in Turkey, and European Court of Human Rights this had uh, decided twice, and it said that he must be released. Hopefully, or I hope he will be released, and the Turkey will implement the decision of European Court of Human Rights. And you said, how can we, how can we honor the people who were now that now they are um, not living? Really, we need to remember Gökhan Açıkkoğlu. He died after 10 days. He was in prison and he died. There was no trial, there nothing. But even to bury him, it was really hard for the families to bury him. It's really a shame for the people, also to who are you know they did not show any decent grave for these men who were really subjected to injustice. After 10 days, no trial, nothing, and even he was a mathematic teacher, so he died. He was diabetics, and he did not get treatment or his pill, so he died. Just of whole Turkish people, I think, a shame for us. We could tolerate this injustice to one of us. We need to keep in mind these injustices, and we need to honor them. Really, we need to uh, excuse. I mean, we need to uh, their families. We need to some compensations to their families. They had very tough times during that time. So we need to keep in mind these injustices. Your voice was not very. I could not hear you very well, so I'm not sure whether I responded you well or I don't know. I think just for me.
Ye- Yes, yes, you did, and it's very important for the people in Turkey to have figures like you. You are a leader. You've been working on organization, and it's really important. And not everyone will have the voice. Not everyone will have the strength, or not everyone will have the courage. And so you, Dr. Baram, Dr. Sarah, Mr. And many more are we need people like that, because like you guys said, it's 2 million people being accused of terrorists. When I first went to Turkey in 2018, I have spoken with a victim of the KHK. He was purged. He was a police Istanbul PD. So it was my very first time to have a first-hand, me hearing, seeing, and having that conversation with somebody who was victimized. And he told me that at that time in 2018, there were only 250,000 of the people who were accused. And he even told me that they don't even know what crime they committed. So there was a lot of still not clear to everyone. But now, after 9 years, we have more clarity on all the injustices that happen. People are more aware, but we still have a lot of work to do. People like us, I'm not even Turkish, but I am, where injustice is, I can be there. I don't have to be in America to be calling out injustice there. I have a lot of counterparts in America, scholars over there, and if they want to talk about the injustices that's happening and the unfairness that's happening, they are over there, and then people like me are already outside. So if we just work together with all just calling out injustices and supporting people who do not have a voice because of the so much injustice, so much suffering that they have experienced, this is what we need. And the voice that you guys and contribution to this project, because somebody was saying that you've been doing this for 6 years, and nothing really is happening. I think every time we face the camera, every time we have a session like this, we inform people, and we haven't even scratched the surface. We are now almost midnight. We haven't even talked about the babies in prison in Turkey. And I think this is very big information for the international community, because how often do we hear a, a, a a society, a country whose babies are in prison? They don't belong in prison. They don't belong there, and they belong in a house, in a crib, with warm milk, with warm bed, with the love of their parents. But geez, they are in prison. And so our work is very big. And so even though it's really hard, and I thank you very much, Dr. Bayram, Mr. Fatma Bostan Ansal, Mr. Sari Colonel Demertas, and Dr. Sarah Fedan. I can't do this work without your guidance, without your inspiration, without your strength. And I think we talk about the International or Human Rights Organization. I think, Dr. Baram, it's time for the Global Dialogue for Justice to go on the road. I think it's time for us to get out of our chairs. And if any of you in Switzerland, in Germany, and Netherlands, and Belgium, if you are listening, if you are watching this broadcast, I mean, we are ready. We can travel, and we can face you and tell us with the voices of justice, the real voices of justice, something that you don't hear from the news and even some of the fake news. We are, and these people I'm bringing you from this scholarly forum, they are the real. They live it. Their live experiences. And so I think we are ready, Dr. Baram, and we have started this 6 years ago, and we keep going. And I think at some point we're gonna have to get out. Just like when I challenge scholars that you can make a difference both inside the classroom and also outside. So, engaging the community, by traveling, by attending events, listening to people, traveling to countries like Turkey. I I had discouraged to do this, and I'm just one person, but I have a lot of support from you guys in Turkey and from other places in the world, and I do it with animals too. And I think we can multitask. We can do this, so there's a lot of people waiting for us, like in Gaza and in Yemen. They have to have a voice, like you said, Dr. Baram. We have to give a voice to these people. So I'm not losing hope. And so, Dr. Baram, I would like you to please say your message of hope, and to even to challenge those people out there in organization in Europe and other parts of the world. What can you say to them today?
Well, I can say to them that those babies who are in prison are being used to blackmail their parents to give false confessions, false statements, uh, to slander some other people, so that this government's story somehow adds up. Basically, uh, I urge uh, conscious people of the world, people who are pro human rights, pro peace, basically, pro environment, pro animal, obviously, to stop listening and or subscribing to the lies of autocratic regimes. Autocratic regimes feed on lies, oppression, persecution, black propaganda, white propaganda. They are experts on this. They silence their victims. They accuse people for all sorts of things. Since most people are lazy in investigating the details uh, of government propaganda, or since they don't have time to investigate everything they hear, obviously, so that autocratic regime banks on this knowledge, so that they do all sorts of persecution, all sorts of cruelty, all sorts of murders, uh, and then go to the world through their uh, propaganda machine that, look, they are fighting terrorism, they are fighting, let's say, traitors, they are trying to secure their public, they are trying to keep their state safe. Believe you me, all those are lies, lies, lies. All autocratic regimes are liars, uh, and also they are thieves. They steal public property, and same things happened after the 15th of July. I will not be going into details. Basically, uh, peaceful peoples, pro-human rights peoples are people's contributions are so important uh, for to end the agonies, persecutions of innocent people. So they should keep up the good work. I thank you very much, Merjina, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Varam. It's always a pleasure and honor having you and your guidance and your continued contribution to our efforts. Thank you very much. Ms. Fatma Busan Unsa, what can you say to the international community and the world? about the situation and our continuing effort to inform them and to require action from international organizations.
It's very important to have international support. As you know, I can refer many times to United Nations Human Rights Committee or European Court of Human Rights. So it's really um, reference for us. So their persistence on the reporting or distributing the news is very important uh, to uh, decrease the human rights violations in Turkey. I really appreciate these international humanitarian mechanisms and also others. So important, if there is a violation in any part of world, it's a threat to everyone. So this motto is really important point. So, as Dr. Bayram has told this, there is a arbitrary and circle in Turkey. So the people in this arbitrary area, so at first, maybe victims were the first victims, but now the whole population become victim. You know, it was unthinkable for main opposition parties, mayors, or parliamentarians, or their become victim of this arbitrary rule. It was unthinkable for them, but nowadays it's happening. So this is widening. So the international support is very important to prevent the human rights violations in Turkey, and we also have the same thing. We are trying to make voice against Gaza, even against the Israel's assault on Iran. So it's very important to have a synergy on human rights. So we are very thankful for them, and also we are looking forward to um, their contributions on these things.
Thank you very much. And you have made so much contribution in this dialogue. And I hope that it is a courageous project. And I thank you very much. So now it is my great pleasure and honor to begin this year's finale. And it's really truly for me it's a very unique uh, that I can do that, and I'm truly honored to do it. As we close the 6th year of the Global Dialogue for Justice, we do so with both urgency and hope. Over the past 10 days, this forum has brought us together, courageous voices, scholars, survivors, and truth tellers who are determined to confront the most painful realities of our time: the systematic persecution in Turkey, and the unfolding genocide in Gaza, and the silencing of vulnerable communities worldwide. This finale is not the end, it is a continuing call to action. Together, we are building the foundation of what can become a global movement, a movement that informs, engages, and refuses to look away. We call on the international community to take meaningful action. We call on institutions to uphold human rights without exception. And we call on every individual of conscience to refuse to stay silent in the face of unspeakable injustice. Our commitment remains firm to amplify the voices of the most vulnerable humans and animals alike who suffer violence, exclusion, and abandonment, whether it's victim of decree driven persecution in Turkey, Children under siege in Gaza or voiceless animals struggling to survive in war zones and city streets. Their lives and dignity matter. Let this finale remind us our silence enables injustice. Our voices can help end it. Let us rise together, speak truth, and build the just world they deserve and we deserve. Thank you very much. Until next Global Dialogue for Justice, I hope to see you again. This is Dr. Merj Hemp saying good night.